how do we become great accountants? I know, of course, when you are doing your exams, for CASNEB, you'll never get in this case here, for example, you being given a distinction grade. It's either you pass or you do what here, you fail. And indeed, all professional courses are awarded pass or fail grades, meaning that all of us are what here equal. Once we pass as accountants, all of us are supposed to be equal in terms of what here, having the same technical skills. I consider that to be really too theoretical, because in a practice, for sure, there is no way we will be exactly the same in terms of having technical skills. Like the accountants have been part and parcel of, in this case here, interviewing for CFO positions for various multinational companies, given the nature of my work. I mean, there are accountants who will come into an interview panel, ask them about any IFRS. Like in this particular forum here, is there anybody who knows what IFRS 8 is about? IFRS 8. Please try answering. And if you don't know, I will not say that you are, no. We are here to discuss great things. So as they're thinking, how about, for example, IAS 2? How about IFRS 10, consolidated financial statements? Very good, Sylvester, segment reports. How about IAS 28, associates? Put that aside. Remember, as an accountant, in terms of technical skills, we are supposed to be very good in terms of taxation. I mean, by the time you clear your CPK, actually, CASNEB messed a little bit up here and there with this. I believe a subject like taxation is supposed to be compulsory. Because, I mean, when you go to this outside market, outside there, is there a way you can tell somebody you're an accountant, and then they tell you, I mean, do this and this for us, like, for example, tax computations, and they're not able to do? Tax, I mean, is a highly sought after skill. But even after doing this, for example, taxation at the advanced level, you'll still get people who get outside there and they don't get to practice at all, forgetting like everything, especially those people who do not believe in what we call continuous professional development. All right. So even if you're saying all of us are equal, there will be others, just like in the animal farm, who will be more equal than others, who will be more qualified than others. And this is really the message upon our today's mentorship session is predicated upon. So as an accountant in this 21st century, what am I supposed to know for me to be able to do what here, for me to be able to flourish outside here? So ladies and gentlemen, you could be very good in terms of technical skills. And I've seen accountants who are very good in terms of technical skills. Not one, not two, not three. Many of them, ask them anything to do with investment appraisals. They'll be able to take future cash flows from a project here. They discount very well and they're able, but they do most of the things, ladies and gentlemen, manually. As an accountant, if you would want to flourish, this Microsoft Office suite, we have to be thorough with Microsoft Office products. At the bare minimum, we must be good with Excel. We must be very good with Word, how to use Word. We must be very good with PowerPoint slides. At the bare minimum, those three, we must be excellent. We must be those people, if it's, for example, in a Word document, don't take this for granted. It's a Word document. You need to know how to create folders in your Word. Microsoft Word. So you create folders like Mwalimu here. I have a folder for AFM. Within AFM, I'll be able to create, in this case here, sections where I'll be able to store my AFM notes. So that come subsequent semesters, mine will be to go to AFM. I also have another folder, for example, called AMA, because I teach AMA. I teach AFR. I have another folder for AFR. Then I'll be able to, in this case here, plug whatever handouts are created and stored in them very easily. All right, ladies and gentlemen, even Word itself has got a lot of functionalities that we'll need really to master. But ladies and gentlemen, or rather before I go to this one, which is the most important, you'll get in this 21st century as having an accountant who does not know how to use PowerPoint slides. I mean, in this era, I will stand out because of the slides that I produce. I must invest time in knowing how to do great PowerPoint slides. Even if, for example, the company that I work for does not, for example, have like a PowerPoint slides culture in terms of color, etc. font size, I mean, I'll be able to create my own. It can be my own branding. I do like very good blue PowerPoint slides, all right? So that whenever I get a chance of projecting my figures, when I go to a board and the board wants to track their performance, I'll be able to tell these guys, as when I came here as a CFO, for example, this was what I got here. If it's EPS reports, I'll be able to pull EPS for 2011, 2012, etc. And I'll be able to do this very well in PowerPoint slides, including pictorials. Put pictures there. All right. At the end of it all, I should be able to finish with the last PowerPoint slide, thanking the audience and, of course, opening the floor for any question and answers. All right. So these Microsoft Office products, they are very important for accountants. Many accountants, especially the people, these accountants in this case who are my age and above, stock of 45, 40 years, 50 years. We ignore these simple things and they cost us a lot. They cost us a lot. Many organizations, this is something I've discovered, waste a lot of time because they don't put their employees into some of these basic trainings. Like RCM, I mean, I'll ensure anybody who is in the finance department, our finance department, on a yearly basis, they must attend those trainings there that we think are what are very basic. And because we are good at them, we ensure that we don't train them internally. We'd want them to get outside there, like if it's Excel, they also bring in some other knowledge like that. So once you invest in your accountants in terms of acquiring some of these basic skills, then you will become very, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no way, and this one hate me, love me, but I must tell you the truth. There is no way you will tell me that you are a good accountant if you are poor in Excel. I normally crack jokes with my students and tell them that if you're very poor in Excel, you ought not to have become an accountant. Because I mean, account is about number crunching. It's about presentations. So then how do I do number crunching without Excel? It doesn't matter the software that your company is using. It could be having these sophisticated SAPs, FICO module. You are very good in doing payable analysis reports. But at the end of the day, the mother of all this software is Excel. We must invest time in understanding Excel, and I would want to take this opportunity to share something with ourselves here. Just something very small here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is my Excel sheet, and I would want us to really appreciate what Mwalimu is doing here. All right, so assuming you have this kind of a template here, you have here sales. Let me just go to the very beginning here. All right, so we have here dates, we have the sales representatives, we have products and sales, and then we have regions here. So if I'm given this kind of a table, I may not be able really to interpret it very well to my seniors in a way that they'll be able to understand. Because like now they'll be seeing like West, this guy, whatever West region, he sold goods worth this amount, Midwest, he did like that. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense. What I normally tell my students to do, I mean, you can even come, for example, and have a list of all the regions. Like now this may make sense because you can bring the regional competitions here, right? So I have my 4 regions here. We have East, Midwest, South, West. And then somebody may want to know, like, if it is East, what is the total sales that was made in East? So somebody who does not understand very well, they'll start looking for these East figures. 29.25, they pick this. They look for another one of East, maybe 30, they add. But what if, for example, this table has got 10,000 rows? Then you can't do that. So in this case here, what this would mean, ladies and gentlemen, is that you come right away here And there are many ways you can do this. Many ways you can do this, really. I'll start with the worst of them all. I don't use it. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, I'll start with the worst of them all. I can decide to use the conditional summation, what we call the sum ifs. So the conditional summation, I'll come and say equals, I say sum ifs like that. I can see it is there in a blue color. And you can see here sum ifs, if means condition, sum if this condition is met. So adds the cell specified by a given set of conditions or criteria, right? So we have these sum ifs now. It's in blue color there. So it's either I click on it or I tab. When I tab like that, it takes me to this cell. It's now within the cell after equals. Remember, we must always start with equals there to operationalize the cell, to bring up the function. So then we have in this case here, the narrative here. So it is telling me sum if. What do you want to add? Hey, I would want to add my entire column D. So this entire column D. And this entire column D, I don't want it to keep on changing. So I would want to fix it permanently. Somebody who is good in Excel. How do I get to fix this permanently? Absolute referencing. How do I get to fix this permanently? Thank you very much. It's F4. So in this case here, some laptops will have to say function F4. So in this case here, mine, I'll simply say F4 like that. After that, they want me to pick the criteria range. So criteria range, of course, it's a regional range. All right. Range means here many. So we have in this case here, this east is here, the region here. So I'll come and pick this region, column E. Again, column E has to be fully referenced. I'll be able to explain why we'll need to be referencing these cells in this manner. I'll explain this. So I'll come and fully reference like that. And then I say comma. I'm following this formula given here. Sum range, criteria range. From there, we have criteria 1. So within the range, I want the sum of east alone. So I'll click on east, and east, I can't lock up east because I would want this thing to go down like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once I finish like that, I just need to come and close brackets because I don't have many conditions here. And then I'll be able to say what there, enter. So it is telling me that in the east region, the total sales made in the east region was 146, 141.51, 146, 141. Let me say, go back here. Now, once I've done one, I don't have to keep on doing the same for all the others. What I need to do is to remember there are 2 types of rabbits. And this is something I've always told my business data analytics students. It's something I've always told my advanced Excel students. We have got 2 types of hairs here. We have the rabbit. We have the 2 types of rabbits here. We have the white rabbit, this one here, the one that I'm moving, this cursor here. Of course, this is basically for just for highlighting. It's a useless rabbit, very useless rabbit. All right, it doesn't really do much. And then we have another one, which is an angry rabbit, the one that we use for autofill. So the one that we use for autofill is here. You simply come and put it in its cage. It's there black. So once it hits there, it's black. Remember, I'm hiding it here because it's angry. It's angry. But even if it's angry, I mean, for me to make sure it does the autofill for me, I must beat it from behind. 2 strokes of the cane. So basically, after I put this cursor here, it's black there, I double click to autofill. It says either I drag down, someone who does not know Excel will drag down. But if you know Excel very well, you simply, in this case here, double click, and then it will be able to autofill itself. So then you are able now, like a manager, to see, I mean, guys in Midwest, they are doing very well, 326. Guys in West are also trying. So you can ask yourself, I mean, how comes the sales in East region has the problem, has the biggest problem here because it is the lowest. So you can now see I'm getting into making decisions here, right? In this case, you're trying to identify the problematic areas because now I have a table with me, a summarized table. Now, I want to know whether, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you guys are not following because I'm talking very fast because I only have 8 minutes. But have you been able to see that concept of sum ifs really? Is there somebody who has been able to see that concept of sum ifs that it can really assist an accountant? Sum ifs will be able to assist you guys big time. Sum ifs. But the one that I would want you to be using always is what we call the pivot table. Pivot table, and this is what I want to present here in the next 2 minutes here. So if I'm the one, I'll not use this. I cannot use these sum ifs. I'm even surprised I'm able to remember something on these sum ifs. All right? Because we don't use this at all in our financial modeling, in our financial analysis. We don't use sum ifs at all. What we normally do, ladies and gentlemen, if I was given this kind of data, I will use the pivot tables. How do I pivot? So this is the table that I would want in this case here to pivot. So I'll get to any cell inside here, any cell. And then I say here, insert. I want to insert what we call a pivot table. Insert pivot table. All right. When I say insert pivot table, what am I seeing? I'm seeing this great column here, really great pop-up window. I don't have to read anything here. The only thing I need to do is to choose where I would want my pivot table to be done. So in this case, I would want it to be done on the existing worksheet. Then to ask me if it's existing worksheet, where do you want to put it? So I'm here at location. I can see the location now. In this case, location, I can see the cursor there dancing. So then what I need to do is to come and just pinpoint one cell. I would want this, for example, to be placed here. And then that is it. I'll simply come and say, okay. So once I say, okay, what do I want? I want those regions. The regions to go to the rows. Remember this region? I'll come and drag this. I can either drag this to the columns. I can put it under filters, but I want to put this under rows like that. So when I put this under rows, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to see in this case here something funny happening. You can see what is happening here. It has been able to do a summary like this. I mean, you can see pivot table is powerful because pivot table is able to get into this column here and summarize, take the unique. You can imagine if I was just using some ifs, I mean, somebody has to write for me this, but pivot table is able to sniff through. It's a powerful tool. It's able to sniff through and it's able to give me what here, this. So let me just click inside my pivot table here for this thing to come. So I want to analyze the sales. So sales will go to the evaluation here where we are putting the values like that. So once I do like that, ladies and gentlemen, let me just click anywhere inside here and see what is happening. So if I scroll this a little bit here, all right, let me just, because it's zoomed out a big time. If I scroll okay, so if I zoom back like that, you can see these figures are exactly the same as this. And this has even gone ahead to give me the total. If I was using some ifs and I want to get the total, then I have to come and do the total aside here, where I would have come here and say the alt equals. When I say alt equals and then I say enter, I'm able to get this 905, whatever. So some ifs is quite long. And the other good thing about these pivot tables is that now I can come and insert in this case here, what we call the pivot charts. I can do a pivot chart inside here. I can do what we call the slicers and dicers, where I'm able to slice like one region and see how everything is moving there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as an accountant, I have 10 key skills that you need as an accountant for you to prosper. But because we have classes in the afternoon, I would beg that I stop here and then we pick the other skills. When do we have this session of the 10 key skills that you need as an accountant for you to prosper? We need to do these sessions, but I'm so sure now class and episodes are really packed. I don't know, but we need to have these sessions often because I would want to mentor a group that will really be very effective at their workplaces. At times we keep on complaining. We say that ISPAC is a bad body, that accounting is a bad body, and yet, for sure, let me just reduce my volume here, my voice here, because for sure at times our skills are wanting. Our skills are wanting. You'll get somebody who does not know SAP at all, QuickBooks, you're poor, etc. Now, as we disappear, ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be having very good programs. Like, for example, if you are a student of RCM and you would want to study, in this case here, this Excel with us, even before I go there, there are students who have contracted Mwalimu here to teach them Excel from Tuesday. This Excel from Tuesday, coming week. I would want to welcome all of you, those guys who have the time. Like now, the guys who are here, who are already finalists, or students who are doing one paper, they should be able to join this Tuesday. It's basically 2 weeks. And then we normally charge especially RCM students, we normally charge them something very modest here. Something very modest. So to be able to see an advert regarding this. Yes, I'll be able to share the recording here. You'll be able to see an advert regarding this. If you have the time, you can join us. And then remember, we have this revision of AFM and AFR, the special revision of AFM and AFR, that if you pay for the special revision, the lunch hour classes, then I will be able to teach you this advanced Excel for free. Evelyn Wanjiko, I'll be able to get in touch with these students who want Mwalimu to take them through this Excel from Tuesday to get to know the exact time that they are comfortable with. And then I'll be able to do an advert. Otherwise, my next class should be starting in 2 minutes time. It's been lovely, I mean, having you around here. I mean, who calls for meetings at this kind of a short notice and they get 90 students? Very few. So if you're interested with this Excel and maybe you're not part and parcel of any of our WhatsApp groups, I would want you guys to give us a shout, give us a call. The college number is 0793 555 0793 555 000 0793 555 000. Call us and then we shall be able to add you to our WhatsApp groups. When is the special division class starting? Monday 1 p.m. Thank you so much. Be blessed big time. Go out there and become ila special division. Tuongea kuhusu hiyo kwa group. Hiyo wengi najua mnataka kufanya ile ya April, isn't it? April 26th. Lakini kuna wale ambao wanataka kufanya immediately. So get out there as a great accountant, impress the world, serve at your very best, leveraging on technology. Thank you and bye. Thank you, bye.